going on, y'all? Today I want to talk about the Federal Reserve. On my last video I mentioned that money's fake, so a lot of people might not understand exactly what I was meaning. In 1913 the Federal Reserve was created. The whole purpose of the Federal Reserve was to print the money that the US was going to need. The US government and the Federal Reserve are two separate entities. The Federal Reserve is actually a private company. They're not affiliated with the US government whatsoever. The Federal Reserve is private European bankers with a whole bunch of rich families that got involved and put up money together to control the US economy through printing money that the US government buys off of them. So this is how the money currency thing going on is all the game being played from the bankers. That's how they control all the governments. Through the Federal Reserve, through the IMF, that's the International Monetary Fund, and this is how they control the power. This is how they start wars. This is how they crush countries. This is how they put certain countries in power. And it's been going on since the beginning of time. All the bankers in the world, they're in on it together. They're the ones that's trying to control the world, and they're the ones that's controlling it through the financing, and they're the ones that control it through the media, they don't want to control it through the marketing. As for the money, how the currencies are fake, we don't back up our money with gold anymore. The gold standard's been abolished since the 1930s. So the money that we use is being printed out accordingly as to how the government needs it. So if they need to print out $6 trillion today, they'll just print it out the same way me and you would go in the house and print it out right from our printer. The only difference is if me and you do, we're gonna go to jail for a long time. But that's exactly what they're doing. It's not being backed by gold, it's not being backed by silver, it's not being backed by anything. The only thing that's being backed is by the people. We the people are actually backing that money up. And we the people are the ones that's using that currency and actually continue running the economy, because the economy will not run if we decide to say, well, where's this money being backed from? Is it being backed by gold? Is it being backed by silver? Is it being backed by who? It's not being backed by anything. It's just being backed by their word, and it's a public debt that we owe to the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve doesn't have no way of getting it from the government, so the government is taxing us and charging us to pay them. The taxes that we pay every year to the Federal Reserve or to the federal bank or to whoever you pay these taxes to, the IRS, that money doesn't go into roads. If you live in middle America, when was the last time you seen one of your roads get fixed? If one of your bridges get fixed? If you live in New York City, when was the last time you seen a pothole get fixed up the block? None of that money goes into the cities or to the states. All that money goes back to the national debt. And that national debt is owed to who? The bankers that created this fake debt, and that's how they keep everything in power. So what I'm trying to explain to everybody is that try to snap out of this illusion that you need money to get by in life, to be successful. The game is a game. It's called the game for a reason, because somebody's playing a game that they know is a game, but you don't know is a game. So this is where your life is going to get a little bit confusing, because you haven't acknowledged the fact that it's a game. So I'm just putting this video so everybody can understand and look up the Federal Reserve. They're the ones that print our money out, and they're the ones that got us in this scam that we're in right now. And for us to get out of it, we got to take our money out the banks. We have to start waking up and start knocking on the Federal Reserve's door. The Federal Reserve has never been audited since the beginning of their existence. And they give the banks money that the banks actually create from thin air, again with a process called fractional lending, that they could lend all the way 10 to 1 if I'm correct. It's up to 1 to 10 on a loan, that me and you with our hard-earned money will go to the bank and give the bank $1,000 to put away, and the bank won't give me and you credit whatsoever. But they'll go and give someone with good credit a $10,000 loan from our $1,000, and there's a $9,000 they just created from thin air, and they'll keep doing that process over and over again. And this is why all the banks and the economy crashed in 2008, because the bankers were creating money from thin air. It happened in the housing market. It happened when we was gonna go get loans for our cars, for our businesses. They were creating money from thin air, and you know who got the bad end of the stick? The poor people, because the poor people were actually putting up funds in the bank that they worked for, while the bank was creating fake funds to lend to other people, that they was using that money misguidedly, and they used it in a way that it basically just evaporated. And that's why our economy is where it's at now. So if we want to stop making the same mistakes we made in the past, we need to start looking into the past to see what happened so we could change it. So this is the only reason why I'm saying is pay attention to where you put your money at and what you do with your money, because your money is the root to all evil, in the sense that it's why you are where you are right now, because you're not realizing that it's all illusion. So we're going to leave it there, and we're going to talk next time.